Mojang just quietly announced on this page of their website that RTX would not be receiving any more updates because of the release of vibrant visuals. This represents the end of Minecraft's original graphics upgrade, something that many find to be disappointing. But to find out why that is, I figured we should do one last deep dive into Minecraft's ray traced graphics option, as well as how to use it, if it's actually better than vibrant visuals, and if so, why it's been forgotten about. And so let's go into that today. By the way, I'm IBX Toycat, and you can subscribe if you want to see more of these. And if that's not enough, I'll even ask you, please, I would love to hit 2 million subscribers, help me on the journey. Anyway, with that said, let's start with the crucial first bit of this, which is how Minecraft RTX came to the world. It was first announced in April of 2020, either the best or the worst time for this sort of thing, and it was actually an entire rewrite of the Minecraft graphics pipeline so that they could have these graphics effects in the game. This was, of course, a co-marketed effort with Nvidia, which was trying to market RTX, or ray tracing, as being a key reason to pick up their graphics cards over the competitors, and so this was announced for the Windows 10 beta, specifically just for the Bedrock version of the game, and only available on specific worlds that you could download from the marketplace in that weird 1.16.200 Render Dragon specific beta. Later, the game would allow you to turn it on just by having a compatible texture pack enabled and pressing the semicolon key or the ray tracing button, and this would allow you to do it in any world, which is how you might have seen one of my ray tracing completions of Minecraft. It was something that was very popular at the time, partially as a marketing exercise, and which was only meant to be used on some worlds sometimes. However, the option stayed in Minecraft all of these years as it's gone on, and so now you can still turn on RTX to this day. But how, I hear you say? I want to start this video with a simple question, which is how do you turn on ray tracing graphics? And the answer should be really simple, because just like vibrant visuals can be enabled on the menu here, you'd figure that ray trace could as well, but despite it being a graphics mode option, you can't actually enable it right here. Instead, what you'll need to do is download an RTX capable pack from the internet. I use Kelly's RTX, which is only available on Discord, but there are other ones available for you to choose, and you want to download these and then enable it on the world that you want to use it with. You do have to have an RTX capable device, which also means having access to external downloads, and then you should be able to enable the RTX vanilla conversion. And so this is a bit of a mess, right? But it's as easy as that. Enable the RTX pack and you should be good, except wrong. This RTX pack will actually just function as a texture pack, and given that it's vanilla style, that will achieve exactly nothing unless we go to the settings, and whoopsie, actually we didn't enable a setting in the video earlier, and so we actually can't turn on proper ray tracing until we go out to save and quit, until we go out to the main menu here, go to settings, then go to video, turn off vibrant visuals, turn it to fancy or simple, and then also hit this button for allow in-game graphics mode switching. And now when we join back into our Minecraft world, we should see that there's an option in the settings to actually change from these fancy graphics over to not vibrant visuals, although we could choose that, but ray tracing as well. Now, according to the Minecraft RTX subreddit, Mr. Fortuz here actually says that you'll have to do this every time you load up the game, but if you're willing to do so, you'll unlock Minecraft RTX, the fancier graphics option, in many ways. There are lots of things found in RTX that aren't found in vibrant visuals, and this is a more intensive and in some ways much more accurate lighting system. In some ways, it seems like it's the exact opposite. For some reason, it seems like I've lost my skin, and also the world is flashing. But I'm hoping that goes away. It has in fact gone away. And so yeah, let's now watch as the night comes in. You'll see one of the biggest differences between this and vibrant visuals. But first, it's worth asking what exactly happened here. If this is a separate graphics option to, this is the most broken graphics I've ever seen. And for some reason, the forest is glowing, and so too are the random bits of grass over here. Very, very, very strange. But I think it is worth asking what exactly happened here, and to answer that simply we have to say what Minecraft RTX was, and the simplest way to put it was a advertisement or cross-promotion with Nvidia. When Nvidia created RTX capable and branded cards, they wanted to make sure that as many games as possible would use them, so you would buy a graphics card and play games using them, and so Minecraft, being the biggest game on the planet, offered to make an RTX capable version of their Bedrock engine. This is something that was used extensively to promote both Minecraft, as having this built in from the box, as well as RTX, and although this deal only lasted for a year or two, now you'll notice that the Minecraft RTX page does say it's available on it's not OpenGL, it's DirectX capable GPUs, including AMD ones, Nvidia's biggest competitor. The truth is that it still was only ever going to be capable on high-end graphics cards, which means only PC players, and specifically only PC players of high-end PCs, or beefy PCs as Minecraft likes to call it, but only players of beefy PCs were ever going to be able to use this, which represents some problems to say the least. Yeah, this is the strangest, in some ways most beautiful, but definitely in other ways strangest Minecraft experience I've ever had, which is why I think it's important to compare the way that RTX looks to vibrant visuals. I can show you right here in this world that I've just decided to use for testing, so now we can switch over to vibrant visuals, and you'll see that obviously one of the biggest differences is that vibrant visuals is a vanilla option. It's enabled in the default textures, and so it has a much more vanilla feel, whereas Minecraft RTX was never supported directly by Minecraft. They made it available to texture pack creators. So if I use my spinner app from Toycat's Toolkit, by far the best way to fly around a world, by the way, you can see that when we've got the vibrant visuals on, things look a little bit more natural, you might say, because this is going for a vanilla look. Whereas if we go to ray tracing, I'm actually worried since we selected vibrant visuals, we can't. Okay, there we go, we can. Now if we switch to ray tracing, you can see there's some huge changes made in this particular RTX pack that were not made in Kelly's RTX, a pack that I've switched to right now, and which looks far more like vibrant visuals, although with kind of a higher end and more premium feel, you could say. But also, there is a third popular RTX pack which is common, and this one is called Defined PBR, which takes that Kelly's RTX style and applies just a little bit more to each texture, making sand look a bit sandier, making everything look just a little bit nicer, and in general being perhaps the highest quality of the three. However, for Defined PBR, and indeed for Kelly's RTX, the latest public download that I could find for the sake of this video was from 2023, which makes it a bit more of a pain to actually use, whereas Vanilla RTX, that first one with all of the weird lights, is the one that you can actually easily activate simply by turning something on. Anyway, something very important to know about, this is how you use RTX, and these are the variants of it, I guess we could say. But how does RTX actually compare to vibrant visuals? Well, it depends on the pack, right? But let's go into my creative world and show you some examples. So this is my super old creative world that I just use whenever I have some creative energy and just want to build something for the sake of building it, and I've got it set to a very fixed time of day to make for the perfect comparison between what we're using right now, which is Defined PBR, and vibrant visuals. So this is an RTX pack taking full advantage of my RTX 4080 Super, and as you can see, as a result, it can render shadows which are actually very accurate and follow perfectly what they should look like, while also having water that can not just look like water, but also yield some very nice reflections of the sky above it and everything else that comes into it from very decent distances away. This is how the world looks, and I think there's an interesting question about how light would come into a woodland mansion that we'll use as our third kind of point to test this for today. Oh, look at that. That looks absolutely stunning, does it not? Whereas, when we switch to vibrant visuals, you can see that the exact same thing here is true, but it's in a little bit more of what you might call a simple style. This is much... I didn't realise I named him Vindicator, but this is a much more, I guess you could say, faithful Minecraft style, just as if lighting was a little bit more realistic, and so the light looks like a big rectangular blob on the ground, and funnily enough, the exact opposite is true for the villager, which looks like the pixel map which perfectly follows him. This is something that you'll spot more across the rest of your world. Instead of having these shadows that perfectly represent what something is, you'll see they follow almost these blocky lines across the world. What is this the shadow for? It looks like a tail. I guess it's the warden's ear, huh? And you can see that Vibrant Visuals does still do a very nice job at rendering these shadows, but it does do so from a certain distance only. The same is true if we come over here to the water, which does just kind of look like normal Minecraft water from a distance. As you get closer, it starts to become entirely transparent, and you can start to see that those same shadows are here, but only from much closer. Well, I mean, actually, I'm saying that they're visible from much closer, but I'm not seeing that at all. You can see a reflection of the sun here, but no reflections for anything else. This is still a very fancy way to see a Minecraft world, let's be clear, but it isn't quite as fancy because it doesn't have to run on an RTX graphics card or a AMD equivalent. It can run on literally an Android phone or an Xbox One. How well it runs on those devices is of course a different question, one I'd love to get to the bottom of sometime, but for now it's worth saying that yes, there are some differences between RTX and between Vibrant Visuals that kind of need to be there, and even though it doesn't feel like it, because when you come from regular Minecraft graphics, whether your game looks like this this very stunning graphics upgrade, by the way, with these beautiful beacon beams that look like so, whether your game looks like this, and this is actually very little, which is why you see very few people complaining about the fact that we had a graphics update in 2020 that was arguably, and is in many ways, better than the graphics update we had in 2025, because ultimately, the number of people using RTX was always very, very low, partially due to being limited to texture packs, partially due to being limited to hardware, whereas the number of people who can use vibrant visuals is much higher, making this a more accessible thing, and that's a useful reminder that it doesn't matter necessarily how good some things are, it matters how accessible they are. After a certain point, good enough is great, and if more people can actually enjoy it, if more people can see black one-legged Steve with shadows of any form, it doesn't matter how fancy they are or that they're not necessarily as perfectly done. And to many people, you might even say that actually Minecraft graphics being fancy is nice. Shaders have been something that have always appealed on the Java version of the game, but actually coming in and looking at it right here, seeing a slightly simpler style of shader is something many people prefer. But if you are a bit of a graphics, what's the word? Not a graphics nonce, a graphics aficionado? Yeah, I'll use that word. If you're a graphics aficionado, then you might say like, oh, but it looks so much worse. The shadows and the textures and there are lots of different ways that it is downgraded. However, this is official Minecraft. This is something they are going to support going forwards. And in some ways, that brings with it many benefits that a lot of people do find quite appreciable. That was a very stupid thing for that slime to do, I've got to say. You know, sometimes we all do this to ourselves, don't we? We know that it's going to hurt when we touch the hot thing, but yet we touch it anyway. Yet we put ourselves into the fire. And speaking of putting myself into the fire, let's jump now into the last section of this video, because I think it's very natural after learning about an update which is actually so powerful, but is not being supported, to ask what is going to happen next, and obviously this is the end of the line for RTX. However, Vibrant Visuals is going to have more and more effort poured into it, and many of the things that are currently unreachable from RTX could easily be ported into Vibrant Visuals if they want to. However, I would imagine that right now, their priority is not on making Vibrant Visuals look better necessarily. This is the same reason we don't have the fancy new colored lighting. This is something that is a drain on resources, and Minecraft is going the opposite way, trying to make Vibrant Visuals available for as many people as possible. We know that they are actively working on making it a Java setting, but they also want to make as many Android and iOS users able to play with this as possible, so that Minecraft can one day look like this by default. RTX and ray tracing will eventually be a footnote in history, and as sad as that is for the people who poured their soul into maximizing it, making these beautiful packs, the truth is that is just how things seem to be, and so this is Minecraft's discontinued graphics option, and a fun reminder that even with the best-selling game of all time, and even with a product that is objectively great, there are still some things that will just be left behind and forgotten about, and it's your job to make sure that you don't do precisely that. If you love something, if you care about something, whether that's Minecraft, Legends, Earth, or the RTX, then it's up to you to enjoy and preserve that. And if you don't believe me, ask me how I know when it comes to the console edition of the game. Anyway, with that said, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope that you have a wonderful day, and that you end it with both of your legs intact, I guess. Anyway, goodbye.